Hello again. This next response is actually taken from another chapter of another book. It is from chapter 2, which is Framing Our Past and Present, from the book Introducing Communication Theory, Analysis and Application from Richard West and Lynn Turner. This is one of the readings that we did towards the beginning of this semester. In this reading, it goes over a history about communication and where it started and what it is about. And then the large emphasis of this reading is placed on the different contexts of communication. And these contexts include interpersonal communication, small group communication, organizational communication, mass communication, public and rhetorical communication, and intercultural communication. Within these different contexts, I feel that if not many of them, all of them can be applied to many of our communication professional work lives. And just to go over a couple of examples for myself, with the interpersonal communication context, I was actually in a class at Missouri State University that was interpersonal communication, and one of the things that I took from that class was using I language. And just a brief description of that for those of you who aren't sure what it is. I language places an emphasis on yourself rather than placing blame on other people. So if, let's say, I have an employee, instead of saying you didn't do your job right, or you were supposed to do this and it's really upsetting that you did it this way, using I language, you would say, I feel very frustrated that this didn't get done in time when I gave you this task. That's just kind of an example, but it shows the different contexts. And also within these different contexts, while I was at Missouri State, I had a class about organizational communication. I had a class for rhetorical communication, interpersonal communication. So these contexts are very accurate and can all be applied to our work-life experiences at some point. Within the small group context, West and Turner actually talked about how small groups can communicate, and how the more people you have in a small group, the more possible relationships that there will be. But then they also talked about how if the small group gets too big, then cliques can form within the small group, creating more of a negative atmosphere. So I think it's really important for all of us as communication professionals to really understand each of these different contexts, because if we are ever in leadership positions within an organization, it will be important if you want to implement certain kinds of groups, or if you want to focus on a certain kind of work environment. It's really important to understand how communication works and in what different context it can be presented in the workplace. So if you haven't gotten a chance to read this article, or if you want more information, I think it's really important to understand these key contexts within communication and to expand on them. But this article gives a really good overview of the different contexts within the communication discipline.